Hello everybody, it's Steven here for the Idiot Quilter and welcome to my weekly vlog for April the 11th, 2023, and it is episode number 213. So, what have I been working on? Well, you've seen this before, you're probably tired of it, but I'm very proud of it. So I'm going to talk about it in a little bit more detail. Now, if you saw the vlog yesterday, I already talked about this, but there are certain things I'm going to tell you about it today that are more towards the quilter in those of us. So, first of all, yes, this looks like a very complicated pattern, and it's called Color Splash, and as you know, it was a block of the month pattern. So I've been working on this for about 8 months. I think actually it was supposed to run for about 9 or 10 months, but the instructor for this decided to combine a couple of the last 2 months together because they were basically just finishing up steps. So, and excuse me, I need to clear my throat. Okay. So if you look at this quilt, there is applique, of course, on it. Now, I've had a few people ask me how I did this applique, and I'm just going to see if I can enlarge this a little bit more so you can see the applique. Okay, the first month's instructions were to make this middle panel with all the applique that's in here. Okay, I didn't want to do that. Okay, and I think, can I pull it down? No, I can't. So I do not have a lot of experience with raw edge applique, and this is raw edge applique, but I have done it before. So the one reason why I took this class was because of the applique, because I wanted to, get a little better at doing applique and maybe learn a few tips and tricks from the instructor. And both of those things did happen. On this first one, though, in the center, I used a blanket stitch. And I did a blanket stitch in a variegated thread because I had multiple colors and I really didn't want to have to change my color for every one of these in the process. I backed them with steamosine, and with steamosine too, you can actually put the steamosine into your printer and print out on one side of it. And that's what I did. The pattern, of course, came with a paper template that you would need to copy on your printer and print out, whatever number that you need it. And then, put steamosine on the back of it, cut them out, then put them onto your fabric and cut that out. And I thought that was way too many steps. So I just simply took that pattern and photocopied it onto the steamosine, and then took the steamosine, attached it to my fabric, and cut it out that way. And that worked out really well, and it was really quite fast for making the pieces that I needed. Now, how did I stitch them down? Well, as I said, I used a blanket stitch and I used variegated thread for this one. And yeah, I went around the edges and it worked out okay. I wasn't particularly happy, though, later on with the fact that you could see my stitches. Because, as I said, I'm not an experienced applicator. But anyways, I went on to the next week. Now, the next week was to create this border. And this looks like it's a whole lot of little squares. Can I back out of this a little bit? A whole lot of little squares all the way around. And it is, but you do it in strips. So you put your colors in a certain order in long strips, and then you cut them. And then it's the way you lay them out that gets them into this zigzaggy pattern that goes all the way around. Not difficult to do, but one thing you have to be careful about is that you're going to be working with really long strips of fabric for this. And you can have warpage happening. That's what I call it, warpage. So the best thing you can do is basically when you sew two strips together, flip it around the other way and sew your next strip on the other side. Or I don't know, I'm not explaining this well, but that'll avoid it warping on you. So that part, although a little bit tedious to do, wasn't as complicated as if you were going to sew together all those little, I think they're about unfinished 2-inch squares, something like that. So then we get into the next week, and that was to do various parts of this border. And the week after that, I think it was doing these appliques. Now this time, and let's see again if I can blow this up a little bit more so you can see, you will notice, oops, you will notice that you can't really see my stitching the same as you can in the first one I was showing you. Reason being is I used Invisifil thread, which is sort of an invisible thread. But what it does is it comes in various colors, but I picked a fairly neutral color. And what happens is something magical with Invisifil if you've never used it before. It sort of picks up the color of whatever it's applied to. So this meant I didn't use a variegated thread. I just used this Invisifil, and I did not do a blanket stitch. I did a small running stitch as close to the edge of each applique as I could get to. Now they're all held down by Steam-A-Seam, which does a great job with raw edge applique, but the stitching is the extra, you really need to do some stitching. So I was very pleased with the way that turned out in terms of its appearance, because you really can't, unless you get up real close to it, you really can't see the stitching at all. So I learned that from this particular pattern as well. Now, when we got to the outside border, the colored one, that was done just in the same way as the inside border that I've already told you about. So no biggie there. But what was really complicated about this pattern, it was so easy to get screwed up with it. To get these pieces out of order. And I did just that. And it happened down here, but you can't see it because I fixed it. And if you remember, those of you that watch me on a regular basis, we discussed this because Walter very kindly, and I'm being very sarcastic here, pointed out the mistake that was down here, that I'd gotten a couple of these blocks backwards. Now, my first gut reaction, because I was really getting tired of doing this quilt, was, nobody will notice it, don't take it out. But I had quite a few of you say, and rightly so, you've spent this long on this quilt, and if you don't change that, if you do not fix that, you're going to regret it, because every time you look at this quilt, your eye is going to go immediately to that mistake. And you want to know something? They're absolutely right about that. So I did fix it. And so I'm very happy with the end result. So yeah, this was a challenge. And as I said, it ran over 8 months. Will I do another block of the month kind of a thing? Maybe. But here's what I don't like about block of the months, that they take a long time because they are a block of the month. Now, in some ways, you get something a little different each month to work on. A big project like this, you have a better chance, I think, of actually finishing it. But then again, it puts pressure on you in block of the month because you have deadlines if you want to keep up with it. So, I don't like working under deadlines. I like to be well ahead of the game. And I was on this one, but it was getting a bit tiresome. But I am happy with the end result. I think it looks good. Here's a shot of the quilting. This quilting was a stylized feathers version. Now, I knew that I wanted to do something with feathers when I was working on this, simply because of the shape of the feathers. Sort of picks up the shape of the little appliques on here. Now, I debated between feathers or maybe something that was more of a paisley design, but I did go with the feathers, and Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches recommended this particular pattern, and it was a great recommendation. I love this pattern. It worked out really well. Now, the other question that I had about this is, should I applique over top of, or not applique, should I quilt over top of the applique, or should I go around them? Well, you could do either. But I decided that because there's so many different appliques on this quilt, and even though I could set up my quilt path, that's my computerized program for my long arm, I could set it up so that I could do an edge-to-edge design, but it would skip over, these that are here. But then I thought, those might look a little bare. I could have appliqued inside each one of these little pieces as well, like did a little free motion. Yeah, I said I could have. My free motion skills are not the best. So I opted out to just go with appliquing right over top, or not appliquing, again, I meant quilting right over top of the applique. And you know, I don't regret that decision. I think it works well with it. It does maybe push the applique a little bit back into the quilt, but you know, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it gives, in my opinion, gives the quilt look a little bit more continuity. You don't have something blaring in your face. You get when you look at the quilt, you get the overall effect of the quilt rather than your eyes suddenly focusing on something that's really standing out from everything else. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So, yep, I did do that. Now, it doesn't show up in the picture, but the thread is not white in the quilting. It is a variegated purple. Purple and a little bit of a bluey violet kind of color it moves to. And in real life, it worked really well. It doesn't, this makes it look like it's standing out really a lot because of the way the light reflected off of the sheen of the thread when I took the picture. But when you see it in real life, this blends in a little bit better with the quilt itself. So again, it's another element that it's there. It adds to the overall effect of the quilt, but it doesn't overtake the piecing nor the appliquing on it. So yes, I was very happy with that. And Lucy was very, very cooperative when I did this quilt. I think, I don't think I had one thread break on this as I did it. Well, barring the fact that I had to switch out bobbins. And the backing, this was sort of serendipitous choice. I had this backing for a while and enough of it. It's a purple. And I thought, well, it picks up the purple in the quilt itself as well. But it already had a pattern on the back of it. And in my mind, I wasn't really thinking about how the quilting would look on top of that printed pattern. But you want to know something? I think it looks really great. I think the quilting in it, because I didn't use a variegated thread with this. I did use a white. No, I used a gold. I used a goldy color underneath because, again, the lighting on this picture is not the best, but all of this pattern under here is already in sort of a dull gold sort of color on the purple, and the quilting just blended in with it really nicely. So overall, this was a challenge. It took a long time. It took some patience, a lot of patience actually. And I'm really pleased with the final outcome. Now, where's it going to go? I want to put it on display. I am not going to wash this quilt. I'm not going to wash it because I'm afraid of what will happen with the applique. I mean, it's well stitched down, it's well seam to seam down, but it is raw edge. Now, these pieces are batik. In fact, the whole quilt is batik. And batiks do not fray as readily as quilting cotton do. But nevertheless, I just didn't want any fuzzies around the edges of that. So this is a show quilt. And what I mean by that is no, it is not going into a competition. It's going on a wall. It's going to go on the wall behind our bed. And that wall is about 8 feet tall. I already have a quilt on that wall, but it's much smaller. I think this one I can make fit in that place as well. And so, yeah, we got to get around to getting that up there on the wall. Of course, I need Walter's help with that. So that's where it's going to go. And I will take a picture of it when it's finally hanging up in the room. I think it's going to look really good in that particular spot. Now, have I been working on other things? Yes, I have. This. You've seen this in bits and pieces. This is the finished top. I call it the Canada Day Maple Leaf Log Cabin Quilt. That's a mouthful. And this is a design, as you know, because I talked about the pattern a week ago, by Chelsea Stratton of Chelsea Stratton Designs. It's available on her Etsy store. And if you're not familiar with Chelsea, she is the daughter of the mother and daughter team that do Quilting Life on YouTube. Sherry McConnell is her mother. Now, they are both fabric designers and pattern designers. And I have done a couple of their patterns before, and usually with a great deal of success. They're pretty well written, and this one was no exception. It was also very well written. It's basically a very simple design because all it is a log cabin, but that center block is the maple leaf, and that is very easy to put together as well. So I followed their instructions up to a point. I think I changed the size of the borders a little bit, but and I did it in O Canada by Northcott Fabrics. I love that line of fabrics because I wanted something. When I saw the maple leaf in this design, I knew I wanted to make this into something with a Canadian theme. So as I said, the top is all done. And not only is the top done, but I don't have a picture of it yet, but you will see it. Yesterday, I got it quilted. And I used another pattern that had maple leaves and swirls in it. And I used a goldy colored, gold yellow thread in that. And it turned out really nice. I've got kind of a red background for it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to square it up and I'm going to make the binding. And I may get started on the binding of it today. Will I have it done before we go out west? Don't know, but you will see it when it's finished at some point in time. And I am working on Stephanie's pattern called the All Stars quilt. She had been doing this Saturday early evening as sort of a sew along as well. I didn't take part in the sew along, but she had the blocks up in her blog and I downloaded them. And I've got 6 of the star blocks done. Actually, make 2 of each one. So in a sense, I have 12. What you see, there's 12 of the blocks done. I have 4 more to go. There are 10 star blocks in total in design. And then I'll put it all together. And I think it's going to be great. I love Stephanie's patterns as well. If you've never done a Stephanie Stitches pattern, go to her Etsy store and get yourself one because they are very well written. And what I love about Stephanie's patterns as well is she includes very clear diagrams and pictures all along the way. So, you know, you can't blow it. Now that far star, this one right on the far end, on the right, did give me some problems, not because of the instructions, because of my fabric choices. It's supposed to look like it's weaved, and it does now, but it didn't when I first started putting it together. And it was a bit of a mind trip. Making sure the little pieces all went the right way and you had them sewn the right way. It looks like those are solid pieces that are going on, but they're not. They're made up of a half, like these squares in here are made up of like half square triangles, and some of these are made up of a triangle on one corner and then 2 smaller triangles that are both different colors in the other way. Hard to explain this. But yeah, this was the most challenging of all the ones I've done so far. But thanks to my seam ripper, we managed to get it right. So I'm looking forward to working on the next ones that are there as well. And hopefully this week, amongst other things, I'll get a few more done. Okay, so I know that was a bit longer than usual today, but I had a few more things that I want to explain to you in detail. So what else has happened and what's coming up? Well, we did Craft and Chat last Wednesday after we did Sew with Stephanie and Stephen. In the afternoon, we had Craft and Chat because it was the first Wednesday of the month, and that's always when Craft and Chat is. So we had that, and that was great. I think we had a record number of people at that one. Each time that I do a Craft and Chat, it seems to grow, which I'm loving. And then we had a pop-up sew day on Saturday. Now, I didn't really originally plan to have one on that Saturday, but because we had just had one the Saturday before. But so many people said they wanted another one, so we had another one. And that's okay. That's fine. I got a lot done that day. I learned a few things. I didn't buy anything this time. Oftentimes my enablers on there show me something and I want to buy it, but I didn't this time. I held back. And I had prizes at this one. Yeah, something I've never done before. I gave out prizes. We had a big wheel, it got spun, and some of the people that attended Pop-Up Sew Day won a free pattern as well, which I sent directly to them to their email address. Now, if you want to be a part of our next Pop-Up Sew Day, which I'm not sure when that's going to be because I'm going away for a couple of weeks out to British Columbia, to Vancouver. So there definitely won't be a Pop-Up Sew Day in those 2 weeks. And that brings us to the end of April. And then a week after that is the retreat. So yeah, the next Pop-Up Sew Day probably won't be until sometime in the middle of May. Okay. So if you want to be part of any of the pop-ups, there's something, the best way to do that is to send me your name first and last and the email address you wish to be contacted at, and I will add you to the Pop-Up Sew Day mailing list. And when I decide on a Pop-Up Sew Day, you will get it directly to your email box, the link for it. And of course, I usually post the links in my show notes for any of the videos that I have put up a few days before the actual date of the Pop-Up Sew Day. But the best way is really to be on the mailing list. Okay, so what else? I bought some new replacement blades for my rotary cutter, and I got them from a place I've never dealt with before, but Jan, one of my regular subscribers and one of my chief enablers, recommended this company to me, and I'll just put it up here, and it's called Ormcraft, and they're a Canadian company, and they have really good price on replacement blades for your rotary cutter. Now, I bought 2 packages, so the $30 Canadian, 10 blades in each package. I bought 2 of these, and shipping was really inexpensive. I think it was only $5, came by Canada Post, and I got them within about 4 or 5 days, which was fine. So I have one in my cutter right now, and it's working very well. According to Jan, these will last a long time, better than buying the blades on Amazon, which is where I used to get my replacement blades. Because although my rotary cutter is an olive, buying their blades, they're a ridiculous price for one blade. One blade can cost you about $20. I'm getting a package of 10 for $10 more. I notice right now on their site, they're saying that this is sold out. But they probably will get back more in. Probably because a lot of us that were on that particular craft and chat or Pop-Up Sew Day when Jan talked about these, and she talked about them again on this past Saturday, all went and bought a whole bunch of blades from them. So I hope that Jan should get a commission for this as well. But just check back on there, and they're easy to find. They're ormcraft.com, and that's just ormcraft.com. And so I'll let you know how I like them after I've used them for a while. Okay, so I also got this month's Sewers Club box for April, and I'm still up in the air as to whether or not I should cancel it. You remember that I did write to them and say I don't want florals anymore, and they did. They got my email. They told me they did, and they told me there wouldn't be any florals in the next box, and they were true to their word. There weren't any florals in this box. But I'm still up in the air as to whether or not I should cancel it. So I'm hoping after you see what I'm going to show you and how I rated the box, that you can give me your suggestion. Yay or nay? Should I continue with it or shouldn't I continue with it? So look what came today. Another one of my monthly subscription boxes, the Sewers Club. And this box is going to make or break this. I've been getting this now. I think this is the 4th box that I have received, 4th or 5th. I think the first one I got in around December, and then I got January, February, March, and this is April's box. And I haven't been all that completely pleased. I haven't been disappointed, but not completely pleased with it. One of the things that's going to determine whether or not I continue with this, besides what the colors, what the prints look like that are in this box, are going to be whether I get any floral fabric or not, because I have specifically stated, and I sent them an email asking them to cancel any, or not to give me any floral selections. So we'll see if they stuck to it. I did get a reply email saying that yes, they would do that, no problem. So I'm going to open it. First time, I haven't looked at this. I haven't had it open. It just arrived, as I said, this morning on my doorstep. So let's see what we have. Of course, we have the card that tells you everything. Okay, here it is. All right, let's go through the fabrics. First of all, I'm taking a quick look. Do I have any florals? Doesn't look like it. All right, let's see what we got. So everything's been laid out from light to dark. So we'll start with the lights. We have a basic yellow. Okay, that one's all right. You could use that as a blender. Okay, this one's orange with ice cream cones on it. Okay, oh, I'm going to rate these out of 5 each one. This one I'll give a 4 out of 5 because it's 4. And I'm rating them basically on whether or not I would use them. So 4 out of 5 for the yellow. Ice cream cones on orange, 2. 2 out of 5. Sorry, I'm not into novelty fabrics. I really can't foresee using this for anything. Okay, another orange. All right, this one, I'm not a big orange user, but I don't dislike orange. And this one is a good blender. So 4 out of 5. Now this is sort of yellowy, orangey reds. Is it a batik? It doesn't feel like a batik. Oh, but it is. It is a batik. Yeah, I might use it in something. Yeah, okay. 4 out of 5. This one is another batik. I do like batiks, but this one, first of all, the color is a bit faded for my liking. I'm not sure what color that is. It's sort of a reddy, pinky, I don't know what. And the design that's on it isn't really thrilling me. 2 out of 5. Another batik. Okay. This one is a good blender. It's in greens. I could see using it. 4 out of 5. Now, I have some of this. In fact, this is the Workshop by Libs Elliott. And I have a whole bunch of this, as you know, as well. So this one I would use. That's a 5 out of 5. I'm just going to put the 5 out of 5 over on the opposite side, see what we come up with. Okay, another green. Again, if I'm lining a bag, I would use this. I don't know if I would really use it in a quilt. I'm not that thrilled with the design. I might. The only saving grace is it's this green color, which, you know, goes with something like that. I'll give it a 3. Okay, now we're getting into some purples. Now, I do like purples. And this one, I think I've had some of this before. Who's it by? Patrick who? Patrick Lost Studio. Okay, maybe I haven't had any of this before. But I've had something similar. This I would use. Definitely use this. 4 out of 5. Actually, I'd give it a 5 out of 5 because I would use it. Another purple. Okay, it's another one with little designs. I would use that. 5 out of 5. Now we've got sort of a batik in purples. Again. Yeah, I would use this one. 5 out of 5. Now some blue. Well, I like blue, and I would use that as a blender. So yeah, 5 out of 5. And another blue. And yeah, it doesn't absolutely thrill me, but I would use it. 4 out of 5. Now, this is iffy. This is a batik. It's dark. A little bit of green, a little bit of teal or blue teal, something in it. I probably I could see using it somewhere. I don't go very much for really a lot of the darker colors, but that's not saying that I wouldn't use it. Okay, 3 out of 5. Now, this last one is a novelty. It's got, looks like outdoors on it. It's fun. It is kind of fun. Although I don't go for novelty fabrics, as I've said. Might be good if you were going to make sort of like a tote bag, or I don't know, something you might use for the barbecue season, something like that. I'll give that one 4 out of 5. Okay, so I'm in a dilemma. Let me look at these fabrics once again. I know what my 4s are. I know what my 5s are. Okay. That one is a 4. That one is not. That is 3 or less. 3 or less. 3 or less. 4. 3 or less. 3 or less. That's a hard one. Give it a 3. Okay, here are all the ones at 3 or less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm going to put this one in the 3s pile because it's kind of cute, but I don't know if I'd use it. So what's that? Gives me 7 in the 3 pile, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the 3 pile. 3 in the 4 pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the 5 pile. So the 4s and the 5s, there's 8 of them, and there's 7 the other way. So I'm pretty much on the fence here still. Do I want to keep it? Do I want to keep the subscription, or do I want to get rid of the subscription? 1 more month? 1 more month and see what happens? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'm thinking I'll let it go 1 more month. Okay, so that was the Sewers box, Sewers Club box for April. And I'm still up in the air whether I will continue it or not. I am paying about, with tax, shipping, the whole bit, about 66 Canadian dollars a month for this, for 15 fat quarters. Still not a bad price, but if you're not going to use them, who knows? But as I said, they did listen to me when I said no florals. There weren't any florals in that. Maybe I should also request that there aren't any greens. Although my collection of greens is very small. So no, we'll leave it for now. Okay, I want to hear what you have to say. Whether or not I should cancel it now, or whether I should give it 1 more month. So you can let me know. So as you probably know already, because we've talked about it quite a bit, Walter and I this coming Saturday are flying out to Vancouver, BC, and we're going to be out there for a couple of weeks, driving around, going to Vancouver Island, to Victoria, Nanaimo. We're going down to visit my brother in Abbotsford. So we're going to be out and about for a couple of weeks on a vacation. It's been a long time since we've traveled. I talked about some of my worries about traveling yesterday on my vlog. So if you haven't seen that, there should be a link in my show notes below for it. You can check it out then. So while we're out there, of course, I am intending to go do some quilt stores. I'm not really planning to buy a lot of fabric while I'm out there because, well, one, I have to get it home, and you do have a weight restriction in your suitcase. Now, if I saw something that I really, really like and I want lots of it, then I might purchase it, but see if I can get it shipped from the store to home again with that. But it's going to have to be really exceptional fabric that I cannot get through my usual sources out here at home. So I don't intend to spend a lot of time in quilt stores, but of course, if they're there and I'm close by, then I will be popping in. Now, that brings up the whole question of, will I be doing a video? I will try. When you walk into a store and there's lots of customers, it's very awkward to do video because, you know, some people don't want you recording them. And even as much as you may try to avoid having people in it, if the store is busy, then that's sometimes very difficult. And sometimes the store owners, and you do need to ask permission, and I do ask permission, sometimes they just don't want you to do that, which is fine. It's their property, you know, it's their decision. And I will not do video in a store if the store owner has not given me permission. So there's that. Of course, we'll be doing video of every place we go to, taking pictures, doing video of places that we see while we're out there. And then my idea is maybe after every day or every other day, I will compile my videos that I have made in that time period. I've got the hiccups, sorry. And I will try and post them to my channel. Now, that means there's not going to be a schedule for that. Like I have my usual schedule for doing my videos. Also, it's going to really depend on the internet connection I have out there. You know, many hotels now come with a free Wi-Fi connection, but the speed of it, there could be limitations in how much you can download, upload on it, that kind of thing may, you know, affect what I want to do. So if I can put up videos while I'm out there, I will. If I can't, or if sometimes I can't do it or whatever, then I'll save them for when I come home and put them as part of my vlogs. And we will attempt a few times to try and do something live. Now, lots of problems with doing live. Yes, of course, there's the problem with the internet connection, the bandwidth, that whole thing. And the other problem is we are going to be 3 hours behind Eastern Standard Time. Now, that's maybe not a problem for some of you who are also in the same time zone we will be in when we're out there, or, you know, a time zone that may only be an hour or 2 hours ahead of the time zone we'll be in. Either way, it's going to be complicated. So what I'm saying is it would be really cool to attempt and do one live anyways over the 2-week period. I'm hoping that we can make several attempts that will be successful. The lives will not be long. They'll probably only be maybe 20 minutes long. I don't know. We'll see. Again, it all depends on the technology and how well it cooperates. But how will you know if we're live? Well, if you're a subscriber and you've clicked the notification bell, it should, it doesn't always, because, you know, there are quirks with YouTube, but it should notify you that we are going live at some point. And so if you're available, join in. It may come down to the point we're talking to ourselves, but either way, the one thing about YouTube is that I have it set up so that right after the live is done, it puts it up on YouTube as a rebroadcast. So, you know, there are potential here. But basically, it's, as someone said, it's Stephen and Walter live and on location for the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, we'll see how that all works out. But either way, we'll be talking about our adventures when we come back too. Okay, so that's our plan for Out West when it comes to YouTube. So let's move to Subscribers Quilt of the Week. This beautiful creation comes from Pamela Nesler, and here's what she sent me. The quilt of the week this week is one by Pamela Nesler, and Pamela is a regular subscriber to the channel and has sent us in some lovely creations before, but this is her version of the sew along that Stephanie and I did a few weeks ago for the Stargazer quilt. And first thing is, I absolutely love the colors in this quilt because blue, as you know, is my favorite color. And I think the stars really pop, but the orange added into this in 2 different shades really brings this to life. And I think the whole thing is absolutely beautiful, and I love the quilting that was done on it. It looks like it's a variation of a feathered design, so that looks excellent as well with it. I just think this is a beautiful quilt. I love the way that you displayed it for displaying it, and I especially love your two babies, your two fur babies right here. I don't know what attracts my eye more, your cats or your quilt. I love both. So thanks, Pamela, for sending that to us. Now, I need more quilts to show because that's the last one I have in my storage. So if you would like to have me feature one of your lovely creations on here, just send it as an attachment, JPEG format, to my email address in the show notes below. And also write me a short blurb, 50 words or less, about your beautiful creation. And in a few weeks' time, I will be featuring your quilt here on Idiot Quilter. Okay, that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week, and this is called Stacey Lee Creative. This week's YouTube channel is called Stacey Lee Creative. And Stacey Lee Creative, I've come upon by, I think someone recommended this to me, and I checked it out, and I really like it. And I think the one thing that really caught my attention was this. So a cute Easter Bunny treat bag. And this enticed me to explore other projects that Stacey Lee has on her YouTube channel. So if we go to the playlist, you're going to find that she has a mystery block of the month. She talks about her Juki, top 10 handmade gift ideas to sew, which is always kind of helpful. New Jersey Shop Hop, her vlog, live streams, another mystery block. Learn to sew for beginners, which is really good if you're just starting out. Quick and simple quilts. Again, if you're just starting out, this would be an excellent set of videos for you as well. Small quilting projects, you know, when you just want something to do, but you don't want to invest a lot of time into a major quilt. And other techniques and tips and just a whole bunch of inspiring ideas. I have found her videos very clear. Her instructions also very well organized and clear too. I think this is definitely a YouTube channel that anybody can get something from. So be sure to check out Stacey Lee Creative. And so what do I have as a future project? Well, I always have lots of future projects, as you well know, and who knows how far into the future it will be before I do these. But this one is called the Irish Pinwheel Quilt, and I believe this one was featured on So Very Easy with Laura Coy a few weeks ago. And actually, she put a link out to this through her monthly blog for the pattern, and that's where I got it. But I have the link for this pattern if you're interested in it in the show notes below, and it is a free pattern. This week's quilt pattern is called Irish Pinwheel Quilt, and I first saw this on an episode of Laura Coya's of So Very Easy's YouTube channel, and this is a free pattern, and she actually put the link out in her newsletter, which I subscribe to, and that's how I got it. But it is a free pattern, and I've put the link for it in the show notes below. But when you do print it out, do be sure to scan Laura's QR code here to go to a video showing you how to put it together. Very interesting looking quilt, as you can see, and I'm not sure if it's fat quarter friendly, but I think it might be. No, it's a strip friendly, strip roll, jelly roll friendly. And there is, of course, some suggestions for fabrics here from QT Fabrics, who put this pattern out. However, you could use anything that you'd like. I don't know when I'm going to get to this pattern, but I kind of like it. It's a little bit different. It reminds me of a Bargello in some ways, although it's really not a Bargello. It is a pinwheel. So, yeah, I've never used a QT pattern before, but by just looking at it very quickly, it looks like it's fairly straightforward. You're just piecing together strips and then making four blocks. It looks like 4 blocks. No, it looks like there's 4 blocks in each quadrant, So this would probably go together fairly quickly. So you might want to check this out. You might want to download it. It is free. And as I said, you can check out Laura's YouTube tutorial for putting this quilt together. So I do have my last interview. It's up on the YouTube channel already. And this was with Shady Susan of Sewing Sensations. So there's a link for it in the show notes below. So do check it out. Susan is a fascinating individual, as are all of my interviewers, or interviewees. I guess it's interviewees. And yeah, I think you're really going to like it. So here's a little teaser to my interview with Shady Susan of Sewing Sensations. Do you have any advice for anyone that wants to get started into quilting? You've had I got a good year under your belt, so you know a few things now. So what would you suggest?
First off, don't fall into the trap saying that you need all the rulers. I bought a kit. Now, I don't like that ruler that came in the kit. And my major thing was it doesn't have a hole so I can hang it, because I hang all my rulers up. But I would start out with Quilter Select, because they have a film on the bottom of them that grips your fabric, because even though they say these creative grids do, they still slip.
Yes, they do.
It's to buy, like, this is a good size, a 4.5 by 12 is a good size ruler to start out with. And then a smaller one too. I like a smaller ruler. And then your rotary cutter. I call this a chopper. My fabric chopper.
And that takes me to online quilt stores for this week. This one is called The Cloth Shop, and I might get to it someday. Who knows? This week's online quilt store is one that's out in Vancouver, BC, called The Cloth Shop. And since I'm going to be going there very soon, this might be one that I'll get a chance to drop in on. But in the meantime, let's check out their online store. So as I said, it's called The Cloth Shop, and this is their opening page. And they have fabrics and quilt kits and notions and pre-cuts, small projects, patterns, trend text, and quilt retreats. So they seem to have a lot of different things. They say they're located on Granville Island and is open Monday to Sunday, 10 to 5. Interesting. They're open every day of the week. Okay, so that's good. That makes things a little bit more flexible for me. I'm not exactly sure where Grenville Island is in relationship to where we will be staying in Vancouver, but if I can get to it, then I may definitely try to drop in. Okay, let's check out their fabrics. So let's just click on all. And here we have a nice display of some very pretty fabrics. A few are very unusual. There's 31 pages of these. Let's just pop to another page. Okay, a lot of prints. Rifle Paper Company is one I've never heard of before. Something a little different. They look like they run in price $10.50, $10.95. I imagine that is a half meter. Let's just see. Quantity 1. Yeah, here we go. Please notice a Canadian company, we sell in metric measurements. I'm very happy about that. This fabric retails for $21.95 per meter. Okay, so that's pricey. That is pricey, $21.95 per meter. It's on the upper end of what fabrics seem to be going for right now. Let's just see how this is organized. Let's drop into basics. What do they call as basics? Well, those don't really look like basics to me. They've almost got a Liberty of London look to them, although they're this Rifle Paper Company. Rifle Paper Company. I guess it's fabric. That name throws me off. Takes me back to my old scrapbooking days. But no, it comes in meters. So yeah, it's fabric, just a weird name. Let's go to the end of the line here. Let's see what else. Okay, so these are a little bit more your blenders and things. Prices $9.95 for half a meter to $10.50. Okay, now one thing here is, oh, okay, they do have a more detailed kind of listing. Let's check their boutiques. Here we go. $10.50. Okay, I was a little concerned about the way it was organized for finding things. I still don't think this is the best way to find your fabrics, because it's really here by, theme, which is okay if that's what you're looking for. I'm wondering though, do they have things listed by the manufacturer? Like, do they have Northcott, for example? No, it doesn't look like there is that. Okay, so that makes things just a little awkward for searching for, but if I did a search for Northcott, what would I find? Oh, okay, so I could do that. They do have some things. So you can go in and do a search according to a manufacturer. So that's good. Ooh, I love Northcott fabrics. Ooh, Zor. I've been okay. No shopping right now. We're here to do something. I love that panel. That is really cool. Mm. Well, if I get to that store, maybe I'll look for that kind of thing. Let's check out their pre-cuts. Okay, what do we got? Fat Quarter Collections. And yeah, the prices are, everywhere. There's that Zora again. Oh, it's sold out. It figures. They got jelly rolls, layer cakes. Yeah, they have the usual kind of stuff here. And the selection is okay. All right. Books and patterns. So we've got some stuffies. We've got quilts, novelty items. Prices are about standard. Maybe not a lot to choose from, but there might be something here that'd be of interest. Okay, notions. Let's check their thread out and see what they're selling. Okay, they don't have any thread. Unusual. They don't sell thread and they're a quilt store. I find that really unusual. They seem to have the usual kinds of notions, though. Okay, kits, quilt kits. And they have a few. All right. Oh, that's kind of interesting. The Madame Butterfly quilt kit. But I'm a sucker for butterflies. Small project archive. They have a block of the month. Harmony, it's called. 8-month row by row. Starts January 21st. Or January 2021. Well, we're in 2023. So that looks kind of like it was an old one. All right, not really keeping up on block of the month kind of thing. What do they have under sale? 2 things, both are sold out. Okay. Yeah, so that seems to be all that they have to offer. It's not expensive. Some interesting things. Maybe in their store they have more to choose from. There's their address. They're on Johnson Street, Vancouver. I wonder why it says Granville Island, Vancouver, BC. I'm confused about the geography. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll be near this location or what, but if I am, I'll pop in. Okay, so that's the cloth shop. So that brings me to the end of this episode of the Idiot Quilter. And yep, so the next 2 weeks are going to be weird when it comes to videos in many ways, as you know. But after we get back, I think we fly back on the 28th of April. So once we get back, then the routine will start. But I only have a week when we come back to make sure everything is in place for the retreat on May the 6th. The retreat is full right now. However, I have started a waiting list. So, there's bound to be somebody or somebodies who may, because life happens, drop out in the next few weeks from the retreat. So that will open up a spot. So I hope you're looking forward to it. Those of you that are already registered, it's going to be a lot of fun. Guest speakers are all lined up. You're going to find those people fascinating. I know you will, for sure, and the topics that they're talking about. And there will be prizes as well. So it's a jam-packed day from 8 a.m. in the morning Eastern time to about 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So I hope you are registered and are looking forward to it. Okay, so that's it for me this week. Just an advance notice, there may or may not be a So Chatty this Friday. Reason being is we are on our way later that day to Toronto Airport, to Pearson International Airport, because we have a hotel right on the airport site. We're going to spend the night there so that gives us lots of time the next day to get to our terminal for our flight out to Vancouver. Oh, so many things can go wrong with this plan. But I talked about that yesterday in the vlog. Okay, I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you real soon. Bye for now.